I'll start in just a minute. Ow. Hello, Garen. Garen, I think I'm saying your name correctly. How are you? We're picking a setting. Oh, cool. How are you? We're getting started in just a moment. Thank you for being here. Yay. Okay. Virginia and New Jersey too. Hi, Mike. What is going on in New Jersey? I have not been paying attention to that. What's up, everyone? Hi, Chris. How are you? Hello, Daybreak. How are you? Is it Citarelli? Did I say it right? Hold on. Let's see. Let's check out New Jersey. Citarelli? I'm from Brooklyn. Hi, Garen. Well, I'm glad you're here. Yes, I did say it right. Oh, cool. Okay. New Jersey. Is he going to be the governor? First of all, this election, and I'm good, just had my first day at my new job. You did, Chris? Yes, Governor. Chris, what was your new job, if you don't mind saying, or you don't have to say, but how was it? Red wave coming strong. I hope, you want to know what it feels like? Let me tell you what it feels like. So we were like, guys, we're gonna get the presidency, and then it didn't turn out that way. So we're like, okay, we'll get the Senate. We got the Senate. That didn't turn out. We're like, okay, maybe the recall election in California, maybe that didn't turn out. And now I'm like, okay, Virginia, let's go, Virginia. Because honestly, at this point, it's not just about these individual elections. It really isn't. It's Geron. Geron. Did I say that correctly? It's not about these individual elections. It's really about, well, it is about the individual elections, because clearly it's about the people that live in those areas. But it's also stocking shelves at grocery store, nothing special. Today was just watching some training videos. Well, that's a good day to get paid, when you just have to watch the training videos. And back in the day, it was, you would watch all the diversity training videos, but now diversity has taken on a whole new thing. Let's go, Brandon. Okay, Geron, I'm saying that correctly. I'm gonna screw it up again. Yep, you said it correct. Let's go, Brandon. Okay, I did say it correct. Cool. But it's not just, it's about how insane the Democratic Party has gotten, and how crazy some of their political antics are at this point. And I'll let you know, this McAuliffe, so Terry McAuliffe, he's the Democrat running in Virginia, and then you have Glenn Youngkin, who is, hi Glenn, how are you? You have Glenn Youngkin, who is the Republican running in Virginia. I'm buying more crypto. Y'all better get in now. I have a little bit of crypto, just a little bit. Burden World, F Biden 2 drops this week. Okay, I like Burden World. I've seen somebody else on this channel mentioned him. I like him a lot. So we'll have to check that out. Everything woke turns to shit. Mike says, it's true. And they've gone so far up the deep end. We already saw, so we had the Lincoln Project basically come out and admit that they were behind this hoax that happened in Virginia. So you have Glenn Youngkin, who's running to be the Republican governor of Virginia, and then you have Terry McAuliffe, who is running to be a Democratic governor. And I can't wait for that video to drop. It will be really good. And Terry McAuliffe is Terry McAuliffe is the governor right now. And the antics that they're doing, they are so desperate in this race. Over the weekend, we had Democrats. We know they work for, oh, thank you so much. Okay. Arbad, hi, and let's go, Sarah. Seriously, thanks for the great channel and videos. Please, oh, he said, please put the tips button on your videos. Thank you so much for that donation. So I'm not eligible for the tips button yet. So on my monetization, I can get super chats, but I don't, I'm in the line to be eligible to do the tip button. I just don't have that yet. But they told me that I'll have it soon. So when I have it, you'll see it at the bottom of my videos. Yes, thank you everyone that donates. That really helps me a lot. It takes a lot of time to, I have the best time ever researching these videos, but it does take time to be up to date on everything. And even still, you're like, I know nothing. I know nothing, but I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for that. And hopefully that will be available soon. Anywho, okay, so this race, so over the weekend, the Lincoln Project admitted that they were behind this hoax that was pulled off in Charlottesville, Virginia. And you had 5 Democratic operatives basically posing as white supreme sandwiches, complete with tiki torches. By the way, it was raining, and they were posing with their tiki torches, and they pros, thank you for your services. Y'all better stand for... Thank you so much. Not too much service on the furloughed list. Thank you so much. That was really sweet. Supreme sandwiches. That's how I get past the, they always look at like words when they, whatever. So they basically admitted they posed as the Supreme sandwiches, and then they all stood in front of the Glenn Youngkin bus to sort of look like they were Glenn Youngkin supporters, to try, because that's been a tactic with this campaign, has been trying to slander Glenn Youngkin as being another Trump, or being, you know, the supreme sandwich candidate and all of that. That's how they're trying to paint him. And it didn't work. They got busted. And even after they got busted, they tried to double down and say, well, yeah, the Lincoln Project basically admitted this, and they basically admitted these were not Republicans that were standing to take a picture in front of the Glenn Youngkin campaign bus. Those were in fact Democrats posing as Republicans. And so the Lincoln Project came out, and they basically said, yeah, it was us, but really we felt like this was our civic duty to pretend like we were these people posing in front of the van, and we did it to remind everyone of how dangerous this person can be. And we just wanted to remind people that Glenn Youngkin is in line with Donald Trump. And also we needed to remind people that Donald Trump once gave this speech after Charlottesville, and he said there were good people on both sides. By the way, Lincoln Project, that has been debunked I don't know how many times. And you don't even have to listen to me to know that that was one of the greatest hoax of Donald Trump's presidency. It was, there were 2 things that happened very early. Actually, there were 3. There was the Russia hoax, and then there was the pictures of the kids in cages, which were actually taken in 2014 under the Obama administration. So that those pictures were not even taken under his administration. Those were taken under Obama, and they said that that was his administration. So there was that. And then there was the good people on both sides hoax. All you have to do is go and pursue the entire speech that Donald Trump gave after Charlottesville, and you'll see that that was not what he was saying. He said a lot more, and he condemned the bad people that did the bad things. He condemned them several times. It was actually a really good speech, but they just took about a few seconds and tried to make it out to be something that it wasn't. And the Lincoln Project, I guess, just exposed themselves as not doing their own research or not pursuing the truth. Because the truth is out there. You don't have to look very far to find it. Just pursue the entire speech and you'll see for itself. But what they do is they assume that most people are not very smart, and they assume that most people are lazy and that they're not going to do that. And to their credit, in some instances, not you all, but most people are lazy, because even till this day, I hear people saying, oh, the kids in the cages, or I'll hear people saying the good people on both sides, and both of those are not true. But people, and these have been debunked for years now, but people will still use these things as an argument against the orange man. Donald Trump was the only president that was hated on for improving people's lives. You know what? That's absolutely true. That was what was just said. Donald Trump was the only person that was hated on for improving people's sides. Totally true. And I say this all the time on my channel. I hate that I have to defend Donald Trump so much because I get called out. I get called, oh, you're a Trumper. You're a Trump fanatic. You're this, you're that. No, I am no one's fanatic, not even Trump. I like him. I don't love everything about him, but I defend him so much because I'm trying to defend the truth. And it just so happens that they lied about him so much. So it forces me to defend him so much. And that is why, that was such a good point that you pointed out. The corporate media, the Hollywood elites, or however you want to call them, they freaked out so much when Donald Trump was elected, not because he was orange man bad, but because he was not a part of the elite. Yes, he's a very wealthy man. He's done rather well for himself, but he is not a part of the elite, if you know what I'm saying. Kind of like Elon Musk and Joe Rogan. They're very wealthy individuals. They dominate their field, but they're not considered like the elite. They're kind of wild cards. Donald Trump is a wild card and he couldn't be controlled. He couldn't be bought like every other politician. So when he was running and when he got elected, they freaked the F out and they had to do everything possible to slander him so that people wouldn't take him seriously because they were afraid of him. And you're right, he didn't work for them. He worked for you and I, and that's another thing that freaked them out. They're used to people working for them, and they're used to people working for each other, and they're used to people that are able to be bought, and he just couldn't. Trust me, I have criticisms of him. I'm sure you all have criticisms of him, but you do have to admit that that's true. He could not be bought, even down to his salary that he made as a president. You make $400,000 a year as a president, and Donald Trump donated his salary the entire time. He did not make a dime being president, and I'm pretty sure he lost a lot of his personal wealth as well. Hi, Kelly, how are you? Every year, he would take that $400,000, he would break it up into increments, and he would donate it back into the government. So he would take like $100,000 and donate it back into like Parks and Recreation or the National for whatever, or he would just donate it to different sectors of the government. He never took a dime. That's why it's so funny to me when people say all he cares about is money, and I'm sure he does care about money a lot. He's a very wealthy man. He definitely cares about money and power, but when it came to being in office, he was the one person that could not be bought. And I think that's what drove them absolutely crazy. They could not control him like they can control everyone else. Obama was controlled, in my opinion. He was very controlled. He was totally bought. And I almost think also, look at Donald Trump before he was president and look after. He's the only president that I can remember in my lifetime that actually looks better after he was the president. Most people age a lot. Look at Obama before and after his presidency. Yes, it was a lot longer, but you can tell it almost looks like a different man. And Obama, one of the things about him is he doing well. He lost a lot of money being president. Yes, Donald Trump lost a lot of money being president. So anytime anyone says, oh, he's rich, he doesn't care, he lost money doing this. One of the, I don't know if anyone's ever watched this. It's a really good series. I think it was on the History Channel, but it's called The Men That Built America. And it just talked about people in history like Rockefeller and Carnegie. I think I say his name wrong. I've always said it wrong. JP Morgan, just all of those guys back in the day. And this series was made way before Donald Trump became president. And he was in the series talking about the history of America. Like that, you can say whatever you want. And I know that he made mistakes and I'm sure that he will continue to. But he loves this country. I don't think you can deny that. And that's why so many people love him. But every time I say something, every time I defend him, it's like, oh, you're a Trumper, you're this. I'm like, first of all, what is a Trumper? I don't know what that is. I have an allegiance to whatever spirit you believe in, God, or that's mine, but I have an allegiance to God and the truth, and that's it. Or you can have an allegiance to whatever your spirit is and the truth. America was built by human beings. Humans are not perfect. Exactly. Human beings are not perfect. Obama, his name, Barack. I didn't get to see the rest of that comment. I still have my skull. But here, okay, let's look at what's happening in Virginia for a second, because Terry McAuliffe in Virginia, this is probably one of the worst campaigns I've seen, or maybe I've ever seen. I'm not sure. But it's pretty bad. I'm going to show you what Terry McAuliffe said today. They are getting very, very desperate, in my opinion. So Terry McAuliffe today, campaigning for himself. By the way, what's going on in Virginia, the last day to vote is tomorrow, November 2nd. I know several people that are going to vote in person, so they've already had a lot of their early votes, and that's putting McAuliffe a little bit in the lead. But I did see a poll that says about 70% of Republicans will be voting on election day. So I think the majority of Republicans are going to be voting on election day. So that number could shift greatly. And typically, Democrats are the ones that will send in mail-in ballots or vote early. Someone said they made Trump supporter into a derogatory term. Yes. And that was when one of my red flags went up. When I started seeing, so I think all of us kind of know politics, they're corrupt, they're dirty, they go after each other. It is what it is, right? That's the name of politics. But for the first time since I can remember, if it happened earlier, let me know. For the first time since I can remember, they weren't just going after each other, and it was the Democrats, it wasn't the Republicans. All of a sudden, during the 2016 election, they started going after the supporters, which is something I've never really seen. I've seen people sort of, yes, Kelly, deplorables. That's what Hillary Clinton said, correct? That was the first time that I saw people not just try to slander each other, but try to slander the supporters. And that's when you know that they were very scared, or they were feeling very nervous, when they had to go and slander the supporters of this individual. Everyone that rallied against Trump are the cause of the problems caused. Yeah. Yes, and they're typically the ones that will say, we have the moral high ground, but look how they treat people who think differently than them. Anyone that thinks differently than them is, I mean, just look how they treat those people. Okay, so this is what McAuliffe said in Virginia today. So Virginia gubernatorial candidate Terry McAuliffe, a Democrat, called for the state to diversify its teaching staff at an event on Sunday. This was yesterday. After complaining about the percentage of white teachers in Virginia, he said, "We've got to work hard to diversify our teacher base. 50% of our students are of color, 80% of our teachers are white. So what I'm going to do for you, we'll be the first state in America," he says. "If you go teach in Virginia for 5 years in a high demand area, that could be geographic, it could be coursework. We will pay room, board, tuition, any college, any university, or any HBCU here in Virginia." As highlighted by Fox News, it remains unclear if McAuliffe would support hard racial quotas for teachers, but his campaign platform promises to address modern-day segregation in our schools and to cultivate the next generation of highly qualified and diverse educators. So my question would be, so are you talking about every teacher that wants to teach for 5 years, they all get room and board, or are you speaking about a specific race? Ashley, Trump won biggest election heist in U.S. history. So that would be my question, because if you're only talking about one specific case, is this not a civil rights issue? And we already saw this. So I don't know if you saw, there was a CEO, 10 million settlement. There was a person that was very high up. I can't remember if he was a CEO. This just happened recently, but his company was announcing that they wanted to diversify the company, so they wanted to get it 50-50. Oh, here we go. Ex-CEO who was kicked out for being a white man got $10 million in a settlement. So David Duvall, he was a CEO, Novant Health. So they were announcing, he was a really good CEO, he was really good at his job, and his company had been announcing for a while that they wanted to do 50-50, right? Have 50% this race, 50% the other race, whatever. And he ended up being fired and was not given a legitimate reason why. Even though he was very qualified, he always had amazing ratings, did great at his jobs, and then he saw his replacement. So apparently he had enough evidence to prove this and to get a $10 million settlement. So it says a former CEO allegedly got fired from his hospital job because he was a white man who got a $10 million settlement. David Duvall sued Novant Health Inc. in 2019 after being relieved of his position as Senior Vice President, Marketing and Communications, which he held for nearly 5 years. Kelly says, I heard about that. Duvall said in a lawsuit that he was abandoned without reason as a part of an international campaign to promote diversity in its management. Novant Health denied the allegations, asserting in court filings that Duvall was fired for failing to perform and delegating critical tasks to subordinates. We are deeply disappointed with the ruling, as we believe it is not supported by the evidence presented at trial, which includes our reason to terminate Mr. Duvall. We will pursue all legal options, including an appeal. Okay, so they're appealing. Duvall said he was fired shortly before his 5th anniversary at the company and replaced by 2 women. He said the discrimination violates Title IX of the Civil Rights Act. In his complaint, Duvall wrote about how he regularly received enthusiastic reviews from his supervisors and that his team had always been held in high esteem for its performance. Duvall's attorney told the enforcer that the date of his dismissal was significant because his 5th working anniversary would have given him further resignation. The message is not to abandon diversity and inclusion, but to do so legally. Okay, see, no one is against diversity and inclusion. No one at all. But again, do it legally and do it fairly. So I guess they had enough evidence to get a settlement, but I don't know exactly what's happening with that. I don't know how you prove something like that. Glad he won. He could have taken... Yeah, I don't know how you prove that, but okay. Oh, you guys. I am so smart. So I was reading out of this... I'm very smart. I was reading out of this article in the Daily Wire, and I thought of that story, and then they were thinking the same thing. They quoted that story in the article, but I didn't even get to that part yet. On the same page. I'm not humble. 43 here. Thank you very much, Bryce. Bryce has... Someone was excited for that. Thank you very much, Bryce. That's very sweet. Okay, so McAuliffe, back to Virginia. Terry McAuliffe said... Oh, excuse me. So he said to address modern-day segregation in our schools and to cultivate the next generation of highly qualified and diverse educators. But I don't know exactly what he means by that. And I don't know exactly what he was meaning by, you know what it sounded like to me? Have you ever, I remember in our elementary school, we would have people that would run for class president, and they would just start promising all these crazy things like everyone's getting free lunch every day, free pizza every day. That almost sounds like what he's doing right now. If you teach for 5 years, you get free room and board. I'll pay for your school. Vote for me, please. Kelly, Sarah, I can see your belly button. That's not my belly button. Can you see my belly button? Sarah, I can see. Kelly, I am pretty gullible in that sense. Kelly. Thank you very much. Good evening, peeps. What's up? High times for new system. Hello. Oh, yay. We have more people joining. Yay. Highly qualified woke POS. Okay, and it says 40. We're talking about this Virginia election that's happening tomorrow for everyone that just joined. So it's Terry McAuliffe is the Democrat that's running, and then there's Glenn Youngkin, who's the Republican that's running. It says 43-year Bermuda locking in. Sarah, I saw breaking news on an update. Oh, yes. Okay. There is. So the Terry McAuliffe. We like Tony. Thank you, Tony, for that. A judge in Chicago blocked the city Monday from enforcing December 30. Yes. Okay. So the police force was going, by the way, Chicago, this past weekend, they had like 25 shootings. Chicago is, they call it Chirac. Almost like Venice Beach now. They call Venice Beach Venezuela. They've just gotten really dangerous. Chicago is off the chain. It is so dangerous. And they were enforcing a mandate on their police force, which was going to cause a lot of them to quit when a lot of them are already quitting, and it's just out of control. So a judge, thank you for reminding us, a judge just ruled that they cannot impose the mandate on their police department. So that is a big win for freedom. And just so you all know, I have had it, and the reason that I have it is because I was taking care of people that were very, very ill and very, very vulnerable. That's the only reason I got it. But even still, I am opposed to someone forcing me to prove anything to them. I am not going to prove. I have my card that shows you that I am fully whatever, but I don't need to show that to you. That's none of your business. And if I want to go to a bar and have a drink, or if I want to get on a plane, that's none of your business. My medical history, that is my business, not yours. I am a responsible adult. So, bleh. But that was a huge win, what happened in Chicago. I heard that today too. Back to Virginia. 43-year career politician Terry McAuliffe failed to keep... Ooh, I love what this is saying. I'm going to go off on a tangent in just a second. I love what they're saying here because this was my argument against Joe Biden. 43-year politician Terry McAuliffe, Terry McAuliffe. Someone says, I'll keep commenting until she reads it. I just read it. 43-year career politician Terry McAuliffe failed to keep his promises to raise He failed to keep his promises to raise teacher pay to the national average for the first time he ran for governor. So now he's trying to scare teachers by lying about Glenn Youngkin's education plan. A spokesman for Glenn Youngkin said, unlike McAuliffe, Youngkin will keep his promise to raise teacher pay and propose the largest education budget in Virginia's history. Okay, so this is the same thing that happened with our 2020 election and the 2016 election. McAuliffe is the current governor of Virginia. By the way, he was outed for wearing blackface, just putting that out there. As they all do. Why is that? Why? Who, I don't know anyone that has ever been in blackface before, ever. So why is it every Democrat politician has this in their past? I don't understand. And Terry McAuliffe is one of them. He's one of the ones that was busted in his past. Whatever. But this is my argument. And this was my argument for people that voted for Joe Biden. People complain about the system all the time. The system. The system is against minorities. The system is against women. The system. It's always the system. Yet they gleefully voted for Biden, who has been the system for 50 years. So if you're complaining about the system, why are you voting for the system? But it was so Orange Man bad. Can't vote for the Orange Man. Orange Man is so bad. He's so awful. Yet they never actually looked at what the Orange Man did. Because if they looked at what he actually did, oh, my life did get a little better under him. Oh, my family did have a little bit more money. Oh, unemployment went down in this area. And oh, less people are on food stamps and they're self-sufficient now. No, they won't look at that stuff. They'll just look at the media. And so many people are like, oh my gosh, now that Trump is out of office, I can take a breath of fresh air. No, that was the media. That wasn't Trump being in office. That was the media going into hysterics and stressed you out, thinking that he was bad. And then all you do is complain about the system, yet you just voted for the system. That's been the system for 50 years and that hasn't done anything. It's the same with Terry McAuliffe. And I think that's why they're so desperate in their tactics. I don't know. He's been a politician for 43 years. What has he done? I have no idea. And that was a good point that the Youngkin campaign just made. He's been a politician for 43 years. Try something new. Do something new. If you're so angry about the system, if you're so mad at the system, if you think people are so oppressed, then vote differently and see how that works out. But they won't make that connection. It's the same with people in California. They look around and see that they're paying more than anyone else in the whole U.S., yet they don't connect the policies to the fact that their quality of life is going down, yet they're paying more than anyone else in taxes. Dead gummit, Sarah, read it. I just did. I've read 2 of your things. Yeah, caught you live. It's my lucky day. Hi, Kent. How are you? Newsom wants to get... the homeless. Oh, yes. Oh, here's another thing about the homeless in California. I guess we're doing like a Q&A, or I'm just talking. I just got on. That's not my... Kelly said I can see your belly button. So they are proposing in LA to put another $1 billion towards our homeless. Let me just double check this before I tell you. 1 billion, Los Angeles, homeless. Did I read this wrong? I don't think I did. Okay, let's read about it. Girl, you need to leave that wacko state. I mean, I'm temporarily gone. I have some ties there. That's the only thing that is really difficult for me, is that I do have a lot of ties there right now. So it's very conflicting. I will say that. I've been out of LA for a while now. Loudoun County checking in. Oh, we got a Loudoun County. Hold on, there was news coming out of Loudoun County today. Okay, we have Loudoun County here. Okay, Loudoun County person. Who do you think it has it? Do you think it's going to be Youngkin or McAuliffe? That's for the Loudoun County person. How much have I missed? I didn't get a notification. Not much. We're just kind of hanging out. It's not called the land of fruits and nuts for no reason. Virginia can free themselves tomorrow. I hope so much. Oh, thank you so much, Jepco. I don't think McAuliffe was blackface. I think it was his Lieutenant Governor Northam. Oh, okay. Thank you for that. Hold on, let's look it up. McAuliffe. Oh, okay, you're right. Thank you for correcting me. It was Northam blackface. Ralph Northam. That's who wore blackface. Northam is the governor here now. I have the weirdest. Oh. Northam was in blackface and also may have won. Virginia Governor Ralph Northam. Oh, I got this so confused. I'm so wrong in everything, you guys. I'm sorry. Current Virginia. Okay, so Ralph Northam is governor right now. Terry McAuliffe. And Virginia governors can't serve back to back, but a former governor can try to run again. McAuliffe took that rule to heart and is running for a new term and a slate of diverse candidates well poised to move the state forward. Okay, so I was wrong about several things. McAuliffe was the governor before Northam. Got it. Terry McAuliffe is running to become the first Virginia governor to serve a second term in nearly half a century. This morning, current Virginia Governor Ralph Northam endorsed his run. Okay, so he was endorsed by Ralph Northam. Virginia has changed. Okay. So if Youngkin can win, the Democrat cycle could get broken. That's why I want somebody to win. We were hoping, we were like, it will be, we have the Senate. No, we don't have the Senate. Maybe we have California. No, we don't have California. Maybe Virginia, you know. Katie Couric has straight up admitted to editing answers for, yes. Yes, she did. Katie Couric admitted that when she was interviewing Ruth Bader Ginsburg, what was it exactly that she edited? That she wasn't supporting... Was it that she wasn't supporting BLM? I'm going to have to look that up again, too. I did a video on this. That's how long ago this was. Katie Couric. Colin Kaepernick? Oh, what did he do? I read briefly about him. I want details about Joe Manchin. Oh, here we go. So Katie Couric admits that she was wrong to censor. Katie Couric admits she was wrong to protect Ruth Bader Ginsburg, longtime TV anchor. She said, ultimately, I think I should have included it. So she took out, when she was interviewing Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she took out some answers that Ruth Bader Ginsburg gave her. And it was about omitting some comments by the late Supreme. Okay. Ultimately, I think I should have included it, but I also think it's really important to look at what I did include. She had to make a statement afterwards saying her comments were harsh and dismissive. Couric writes in her memoir that she edited out parts of a 2016 interview for Yahoo News with the justice because Couric wanted to protect her. Couric had questioned Ginsburg on NFL player Colin Kaepernick's, yes, that's what it was, okay, decision to kneel during the national anthem to protest racial injustice, which eventually led to a bigger movement among players in the league. I think what people don't realize is we make editorial decisions like all the time, and I chose to talk about this and put it in the book for a discussion. I mentioned, this is Couric, I mentioned that it was a conundrum that I asked Justice Ginsburg about Colin Kaepernick and taking a knee and how she felt about that. And I did include the fact that she said it was dumb and disrespectful. It was stupid and arrogant and quite a bit of what she said. There was another line that I thought was, I wasn't sure what she meant exactly, and I thought it was subject to interpretation. What I wish I had done is asked to follow up and clarify, or just run it and let her clarify it later. But I think the most pertinent and direct response to be the question about Colin Kaepernick I included was, and that's why I raised it, because maybe I should have done the other sentence as well. Okay, so she was saying, I don't know. I think if someone says that, you just let them talk. But I think the real issue is you shouldn't have to. Katie Couric felt like she had to protect RGB for giving her opinion on something. And she said it was stupid. It was this and that. But my issue is why you shouldn't have to protect an older woman, an older respected woman from giving her opinion. But that's how crazy I think our mob has gotten as well. If she wants to have her opinion and say something stupid, why are people so emotional about it? Let her have her opinion. Who cares? But they needed her, so Ruth Bader Ginsburg was away. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was kind of a token for a lot of Democrats. And I think if she swayed any from the narrative that they have, that didn't really work for them. She was probably told to edit out. She might have been, but I do, I think I slammed on Katie Couric a little bit too, but I do give her credit for at least admitting that in her book and saying, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. At least she admitted it. Master of the Bader Ginsburg. I mean, I don't know. She admitted it. I think that's pretty cool. Whatever. Bader's. It seems weird to me that she admitted it. If she thought she shouldn't get out, why say it now? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes when you write a book, you want to put things in there that gets a little bit of conversation going, and I think you want to put things in there that gets people talking and that gets your book looked at, and that's probably one of them. I don't know. I think people put things in their book to get sales and to get people talking. It definitely got people talking. Katie Couric was trending, so it worked. Maybe that's why she did it. Because you always have to put a little bit of juice in your books in order for people to buy them. Okay, see ya. Seems shady to me, like it was similar to blackmail. Who knows? She forgot she was a reporter, not an editor. Interesting. I like that perspective. So, are we talking about Virginia? We were. Now we're talking about Katie Couric. Okay, so speaking of Loudoun County, this is what I was looking for. Now we're going back to Virginia. All right, so I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory on this. We're going back to Virginia, and this is one of the reasons why this this election is so heated and why it's so polarizing and so divisive, and also why a lot of people are saying I'm always a Democrat voter, but I'm probably voting for Terry McAuliffe this time. So Loudoun County has been the hotbed for a lot of these school board meetings and has kind of been the face of a lot of these like angry parents storming the school board meetings. Loudoun County School District has been passing they've been implementing like CRT type curriculum into their school. I know they've had some problems with their mask mandates. They have this new bathroom policy that's saying that you can use whatever bathroom fits your identity, not your biological sex. So a lot of parents are clearly upset about this and have been going to the school board a lot, and it's been the epicenter of a lot of this. And how this is inserting itself into this governor election is that it's been, Terry McAuliffe has said, parents have no business being in the classroom. So that's kind of his thing. Parents should not be telling teachers how to teach. So that's sort of his thing. And Glenn Youngkin is like, no, parents should have say in what's happening in their classroom, and we don't want CRT in our classrooms. And McAuliffe is over here saying, he literally said, if you oppose CRT, you're the R word. So there's that. So that's another layer to this whole race. And I think that's why this race is so important too, because it's really going to show, okay, who in fact is actually standing up against CRT and a lot of these things that are being implemented in schools. And this is going to show, because it's not they paint this as a Republican Democrat thing, but it's really not. It's a common sense person who cares about your child against whatever. So in Loudoun County, Zombie's here. No, it is. Ken just said it sounds a lot like, if you don't vote for me, you ain't this color or that color or whatever. It is a lot like that. And this is exactly what they did in California. For our gubernatorial, new word I learned, for our gubernatorial election that came up, for our little recall election, that's exactly what they tried to paint it as. Anyone that was against Gavin Newsom, they were like, they're far-right extremists. That's what they would call anyone that didn't like Gavin Newsom, but that was not true. I was one of the people on the ground collecting signatures to get Gavin Newsom recalled, and I met tons of people, and it was Democrat, Republican, Independent, people that are not interested in politics. They're just like, okay, this is getting a little crazy for me. And that's what a lot of these parents are. They're like, okay, we're not political people, but this is getting a little bit crazy. Gavin needs to go, and her auntie too. Yes, the good news about Gavin is there is another election coming up really soon. So he was having an election anyway, so we'll see what happens in that election. I don't know what's going to happen. California, some people in California, there's a lot of blocks going on. They can't connect the dots. Okay, so in Loudoun County, that was also where the father got arrested going to the school board meeting, but he was actually going there to speak out for his daughter, who was assaulted in a bathroom by a male student who identified as gender fluid, who is wearing a skirt. And this happened right before they were having a discussion on this new bathroom policy. So this father wanted to speak. He met some opposition as soon as he went in. People were telling him he was lying. He got upset. There was a little back and forth. He got arrested for something like disorderly conduct or something like that. Well, come to find, one of the people that was heading this school board meeting actually had an email that talked about the assault that happened in the bathroom. But at the school board meeting, he was like, we don't have any knowledge of any things that happened in our bathroom. It's all good here. Let's move forward with the policy. So this just came out. I can't relate to any of this. I'm in Mississippi. Well, that's probably good. Usually, you know what's crazy? Usually you would think Virginia can't relate to any of this too. But it's even, so I'm in a really small town in Virginia right now, and I was in a restaurant recently and I picked up a local paper. I think I threw it away, but I picked up a local tiny little newspaper. That's just the small little town newspaper. And on the front of the newspaper said it was talking about the new bathroom policy for schools, and it was a discussion on that. So this has even reached small town conservative area in Virginia. Okay, so here's the update with the whole father situation, Loudoun County, and I think we still have a Loudoun County person here. All right. Breaking. Loudoun County official claimed he might not have seen email informing him of the attack that happened in the bathroom, despite responding to it. So it says internal Loudoun County School Board emails show a shifting explanation about how much the school board members knew about a bathroom attack, with one member writing to the superintendent in the wake of cover-up allegations that he might have missed the email informing him about it, even though he previously responded to that very email asking a follow-up question after also hearing about the incident from someone else. So they're trying to backtrack. He says, okay, this is something I learned also. Whenever someone says, I don't recall, that's lawyer talk. That's what a lawyer will always tell you if you're in trouble or if someone's questioning you. Just say, I don't recall. And that's exactly what, so anytime I see someone that says those words, I don't recall, I think of lawyer speak. That's what they'll tell you to stay out of trouble. I'm not saying I know this person is in trouble. I'm just saying every time I see, I do not recall, that's what I think of. He said, or he or she, I don't know who this is. From my memory, I don't recall. Only learning about it during the public comment process. Democrat board member Harris Madavi wrote to the superintendent on October 12th, one day after the Daily Wire revealed that a girl had been attacked in the bathroom on May 28th, that the superintendent had denied it in a public meeting June 22nd, and that the school system had quietly transferred the assailant to another school where he was arrested for a different attack. So this person was transferred to another school and there was a different attack. As has been previously reported, immediately after the May attack, Ziegler, who is the superintendent, wrote to the school board members saying, the purpose of this email is to provide you with information regarding an incident that occurred at Stonebridge High School. This afternoon, a female student alleged that a male student attacked her in the restroom. 3 weeks later, on June 22nd, Ziegler said in a public board meeting that, to my knowledge, he said, we don't have any record of assaults occurring in our restroom. So he said this after he had received this email. None of the school board members raised the discrepancy. But a week after that, on June 28th, it was on the mind of school board members, the newly obtained emails show. Madavi replied to the May 28th email that day writing, Dr. Ziegler, he's a doctor? I guess so. Dr. Ziegler, has there been any update on this case that you can share with the board? Ziegler replied, the matter is under investigation by law enforcement and I am unable to provide any update. The same day, school board member Beth Bartz also wrote the superintendent suggesting that she had heard of an attack from parents. In addition to understanding where LCPS is in regards to the allegation of the attack, I would like to know how LCPS will handle the rally on Wednesday. Ziegler did not address the question about the attack in his reply, but only informed her that he would lock up the administration building to make it unavailable to attendees in an event of angry parents. Bartz, who asked the question to which Ziegler answered no without bringing up the May incident, subsequently announced her resignation from the board. The emails were released in pursuit of a Freedom of Information Act request filed by parents. So parents filed a freedom of information, and that's how all of these emails were released to everyone. The timeline bolsters a claim by Scott Pio, a Loudoun resident who is running for state delegate as Republican. Powell, I think that's how you say it, told the Daily Wire in an interview that Madavi could not have been unaware of the attack because he personally told him about it in June. So now they're all backtracking and saying, we didn't know about this. We don't recall. Sarah, I am back. I was frozen and bumped twice. I don't know why you're frozen. I'm sorry. Everything seems fine on my end. Is it bad on anyone else's end? Seems fine over here. Oh. Todd, Michael did. It's fine here. Yeah, but remember, zombie is the shiznit. Oh gosh. All good here. I will tell you that sometimes I won't see comments for a few seconds and then a bunch of them will pop up at the same time. Fine here. Okay. Yeah, sometimes I won't see the comments for a few seconds, but then like 6 of them will pop up at the same time. That's the only thing I see over here. Okay, on June 26th, I had a 10 to 15 minute conversation and told Harris all about, okay, so basically they're trying to backtrack at this point in Loudoun County and say, we didn't know about this, but we have email evidence that they did, and they even responded to it. So I don't know how that's going to go. I don't know if there's going to be a further investigation on this. Let me see. But this is one of those topics that's sort of a hot topic for the race in Virginia. And this is why a lot of people are thinking that Virginia might flip back to red. It's been, I believe it used to be a swing state, am I correct? And it's been pretty staunch blue for the past 5 years. Froze a couple times for me too. I'm sorry, I didn't see it freezing at all here. Maybe it did. Maybe that's why the comments stopped and then they would come back up. So we'll see. That's the one thing. And I talked about this before. You know, they have all of these. Okay, good. It's better now. Oh, hi, George. How are you? Not one glitch here, Sarah. That's good to know. I'm the only glitch here, not my electronics. When caught in a lie, create a bigger lie. That's what they're doing. And let me just tell you, anytime you hear someone say, I don't recall, like, your antennas should go up, that's lawyer speak for, I don't recall. I don't recall ever doing that. You are in high res tonight. Last night was really pixelated. I don't know what was going on last night. Wait, it wasn't last night. It was the night before last night. It was Saturday night. I don't know what was going on, but I kept freezing. That was awful. I don't feel like I've frozen once tonight. Not compared to, it was Saturday night. I kept freezing. Ooh. Just kidding. VA is a bellwether state. Yeah, it's much better tonight. Don't tell me I'm buffering. No, I don't know. Say something. The ghost got you the other. I think it wasn't Halloween, but it was Halloween themed. So maybe that was the ghost. Bellwether state. What does that mean? Let's Google it. Big trouble in little VA. We'll see. Tomorrow will be really interesting. That'll be interesting. Bellwether state means Just got recommended this. First time listener. Oh, hi, Matt. Thank you for joining. We've been here for an hour. People stop talking about buffering. It's just a distraction. The resonating wave is coming when a small area represents the bigger area votes. Okay. The Missouri bellwether is a political phenomenon that notes that the state of Missouri voted for the winner and all. Well, you know, that makes sense because it's actually... interesting. Good evening, Matt, and welcome. Hi, Matt. It is really interesting. It's almost similar in California, although I don't think California is considered a bellwether state. But when you're in the country, let me just tell you, anywhere I go in Virginia, besides Northern Virginia and downtown Richmond, there's Trump signs everywhere. It's very Republican in California. Like, if you drive outside of the cities in California, when you're in the country, there's a lot of country in California. It's just not what you hear about in the news or in the media. When you're not in a city, I was driving around, not this past summer, but the summer before, the summer of 2020. There were Trump signs everywhere. As soon as you got out of the cities in California, I saw Trump stuff everywhere in rural Oregon. Yeah, and I think that's typical. I think in more rural areas, there's a lot more Republicans. And what I've noticed, I don't know if you guys have noticed, I've noticed that people are also a lot nicer when you're not in the cities or in the tolerant areas. I feel like people are more accepting. They're a lot nicer. I feel more relaxed. All of it. And then the last thing I'll talk, this isn't Virginia, but if you wanted to talk about this, so another big thing that's been happening is this Kyle Rittenhouse case. And this is something I followed really closely, not last summer, but the summer before that. That's when all the riots happened. That's when the riots in Kenosha happened. And I was actually following in real time a lot of the independent journalists who were getting real-time footage when all of this went down. And it was very confusing at first because there were a lot of shots going around. So it was hard to tell who shot first or what was going on. It was hard to put the timeline together, and I'll just give you my opinion on it. So there's two extreme sides, right? Like, one extreme side is like, Kyle Rittenhouse is a supreme sandwich. That's what, I hope you guys know what I'm talking about now. He's a white supreme sandwich. That's what they call him. And then the other side is like, he's a freaking hero. I don't think he's either. And I think I understand why he did what he had to do. I totally understand that, and there's an argument for that. But he was 17. If he was my son, I don't have kids. I don't think I'm old enough to be his mother, but if that was my son, I would be like, you stay your butt home. You don't go anywhere near that area. So I don't think a 17-year-old kid should have been out there. But at the same time, I understand why he was there. And I understand why people felt frustrated and why they felt that they wanted to go protect these areas. I call him a hero because it pisses off the left. Okay, so Kelly has a sense of humor about it. Yeah, but I wouldn't say he's an American hero. I think he did what he had to do in the situation that he was in. And I think he went there with good intentions. I do not think he's an awful person. But he did what he had to do. He was a lifeguard there, and he was asked to protect a car lot. Yes, exactly. I think my argument comes from, I'm a little older. I would never allow my son to go there. I'm like, no, that is no place for you. You're too young. But I understand why he did it. And I'm not condemning him for doing that, if that makes sense. And I saw all the videos together, and what was really, really interesting is that the New York Times, so if you look on YouTube, I watched this last night and I was so shocked. If you look on YouTube, they put out a video, I think it was yesterday or the day before, about the whole shooting, and it was super biased. And it was super trying to paint one side as one thing. I didn't particularly like it, but I will say the New York Times, after this happened, they did put, and I'm sure you can still find it on the internet, they did put a really good timelined back-to-back like video, and they went through the whole thing, and it clearly shows that Kyle was shot at first and that he was acting in self-defense, which is my opinion. I'm not the jury, I'm not the judge, I'm not looking at all the evidence in the court, but from all the video footage, once you put it together, once you look at it, once you analyze it, from what we know right now, it clearly shows he was chased, he was pew-pewed at first, and he was acting in self-defense. You can make the argument that he shouldn't have been there, and at some point, I agree, but I understand why he went there, and I don't condemn. I think he went there for good reason. It just stinks because he was very young, and I think got into a situation that he probably didn't fully understand how crazy these people are. I'll say that. And I believe that in one of the instances, they were pushing a dumpster that was on fire towards a gas station, which can be pretty bad. That can lead to a lot of really bad things. And I think that's what he was preventing. So I commend what he was doing. I just don't think that was a place for a person his age. But that's not really, I don't know. Whatever. So I'm kind of in the middle, but he just wanted to help, but he got so much more than he bargained for. Yeah, he wanted to help, but I don't, again, I don't think he probably didn't fully understand what he was getting himself into. Yeah. I don't think he should be charged with anything. But it's crazy to me. Oh, and this is what I wanted to say. So the judge, I made a quick video about this. First of all, the judge said, because what they tried to do immediately after this happened, the girlfriend of one of the guys that was shot came out and was like, he was a victim, he was just there. No, that's not true. You can clearly look at the video, and when you slow it down, you can see exactly what happened. So that's all I'm going to say. It's all there. It's on camera. You can see exactly what happened. You can see exactly who was chasing who and who did what and who is defending themselves. So there's all that. But they tried to paint Kyle as a supreme sandwich. They tried to slander him. First of all, if he is a supreme sandwich, he's like the worst one that I've ever seen, because all the people that were at the other end were white. So there's that. But the judge, first of all, the judge ruled that you cannot refer to the people that were hit as victims. You had to call them either, I think, rioters or looters. And secondly, he also said, and this was today, that he condemned the media, and he condemned the media's coverage of what happened. And I like that about this judge, because that's exactly what the media did. They totally took a side very early on, and they slandered without fully knowing exactly what happened. And I will admit, I was watching this. So during the summer, I had a lot of videos on the protests and the riots, and I was caught in the middle of one in Los Angeles. So I just got weirdly fascinated with what was going on and how all of these started. So I was watching video clips come out in real time on Twitter while this was happening, and it was very confusing. It took a while to get the timeline correct and to figure out what exactly happened, because there was a lot going on that night. Yeah, I support him. I think that he is a young person who went there for good reasons. Although if that was my child, I would have you're staying home. But hey, he went there for good reason, and I don't think he quite understood what he was getting himself into. But he went there for good reason, and I don't think that he should be in jail or charged. That's just me. And it's crazy how the media, without having any information, can go ahead and just pick a side. And Kyle did right by what he did. I was really, really surprised or disappointed. If you can watch this, I don't know if you do want to watch it. I didn't watch the entire thing. I made it about 80% of the way through, but on YouTube, there is a little short documentary that the New York Times put out all about the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, and it was very, very biased. I was really disappointed in how they covered this whole thing. But what was even more surprising is the New York Times actually did put out that timeline that basically showed that Kyle Rittenhouse was defending himself. So it must have been two different people doing those stories. I don't know. But they even a lot of these people used footage by Richie McGinnis. So Richie McGinnis, he's an independent journalist. He works for the Daily Caller, and he's the one who he saw the first shooting that happened, and he took the shirt off his back to provide a tourniquet for one of the men who passed away. So he literally was there taking the shirt off his back to help someone. And that's one of the journalists or the reporters that I follow, or independent journalists or whatever. The narrative agenda is all the propaganda media cares to push. Yeah. And it's really sad too. I took like a beginner's course in journalism just because it was in the pandemic. I had nothing better to do. And it was just this like online, it was from an accredited college, but it wasn't an accredited course. But it was just an intro into journalism, talking about what it is. And the very first thing they teach you is that propaganda is bad. So they teach you, there's several types of journalism. There's objective journalism where, that's mostly like local news where you don't give your opinion. No one has any idea what your opinion is. You just talk to give the information without your opinion, right? And you give both sides and you just give the information. And that's okay. There's point of view journalism, and that's also okay. And that's where you have a clear point of view, you have a bias, but you always tell people, this is my point of view, this is my bias. You give the information, you still give both sides, and then you give your opinion on the story, right? And that's okay. And you're always upfront about that. And then there's just pure propaganda where you pretend like you're objective and you pretend like you're giving both sides, but you're really just protecting your narrative and creating propaganda. And that is bad, 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 bad. That is journalism 101. That's journalism for dummies. And it's so sad to see the state of the news and journalism and all of that. But a part of me thinks it's kind of always been this way. We just see behind the curtain a little bit more now than what we used to, is what I think. That's just my opinion. I think there are good journalists, though. There's a lot of good journalists. But a lot of them that get a lot of attention are not good journalists. That's old school journalism. Now we have journ activism. Yeah, it's activism. Subjective, yeah. But see, at least, like Greg Gutfield, at least with an opinion piece, it'll say that it's an opinion piece. And like all those things are okay, but you're upfront about, this is my opinion. This is what I think. These are the facts, and then this is what I think. 2 + 2 = 5. Yes, George. Words mean nothing anymore. Let's go, Brandon. Megyn Kelly has impressed me with her journalism post NBC. That's what Brady said. I agree, Brady. And Barry Weiss. Barry Weiss was run out of New York Times. I like Megyn Kelly. I believe she has a podcast now. I really like, when I watch an interview with her, I really, really like what she has to say. Megyn Kelly. Barry Weiss too. Barry Weiss, I don't know. So Barry Weiss was a she is a journalist, and she used to work for, was it the New York Times, I believe? The New York Times. It was sort of run out because she was just shocked at how journalism has turned into activism, and she just couldn't do it. She felt like she was jeopardizing her integrity, so they ran her out basically. And now she pretty much is full-time on Substack and just doing her own thing. So it worked out quite well for her. But she was on Brian Stelter recently and was calling out the biased media. And Brian Stelter was like, oh, what are you talking about? What do you mean? The biased media? I have no idea what you're talking about. And he's just the worst of the worst. Quite interesting clip if you can find it. I feel like we're getting closer to Idiocracy. Well, you know what? It depends on your perspective. So you could have this perspective that we're doomed, or you could have the perspective that things often get a lot worse before they get better. Sarah, could you be a commentator for Fox? I don't know. I think I'm too much of a mess up or a goof. I like Mark Dice has that clip. Oh, please. I think it's kind of fun and liberating to do your own thing a little bit. I don't know. Nah, you're fun. Thank you, Bryce. Idiocracy, comedy or documentary? That's my perspective, and I'm a very persistent optimist. So I think that things get a lot worse before they get better. And I took behavior modification in college, and we learned that too. Right before you're about to change someone's behavior, they get really crazy. Also, like the death rattle, right? Right before you go, it's called the death rattle. Like things get really jerky before they get better. That's what I think. Because I think most people have common sense. Thank you so much, Brady. Thank you, Brady. That's really sweet. I think most people have common sense. Barry and Megan are great. Yes, George, Callie, we agree. You seem like an optimist. No, I am. I'm a very persistent, I call myself a persistent optimist, because when everyone is doom and gloom, I always have hope. And I do have hope. I think that most people are good people. Most people have common sense. But what I think happened, there's a saying. The saying is, hard times create great men. Great men create great times. Great times create weak men. And I think that we've had great times for a while. The worst thing I can think of in my generation was 9/11, and it was absolutely awful. It was absolutely tragic. But it hit home for a lot of people. It hit home for a lot of us, but it wasn't like it was right at your back door, I think, for a lot of people, if that makes sense. So that was probably the worst thing that I can remember. And then being in Iraq, but I think we've had it really good for a really long time. And I think it's caused us to sort of like be in our own world and pay attention to ourselves, or be on our devices, or just be really caught up in our lives, and we're not really paying attention. For instance, parents aren't really paying too much attention what's going on in their kids' school, because why wouldn't you trust your kid's school? You send your kid off to school and they get an education and they come back. Pilots for 9/11, truth. But I think, for instance, what happened with the pandemic is a lot of kids we've had it too good. Makes sense. Yeah, we've had it really good. Obviously, nothing's perfect, but we've had it really, really good. We're very comfortable. We're one of the wealthiest countries in the whole world. And we have all of these devices. We have all of these things to make us very comfortable and very happy. We have instant gratification. We can have it all day, every day if we wanted. And I just think that we're really comfortable and we're not paying attention. And so all these things, I think, creep up, and I think a lot of things crept up on parents. For instance, a lot of their kids are now doing school at home, so now their teachers are Zooming to them, and parents are like, oh, is this what you're learning in school? Or, oh, is this what's going on in school? And then they see a few angry parents at a school board meeting, and they're like, well, what's going on? Why are these parents angry? So they're looking into things a lot more. I never paid attention to local politics until I lived in Los Angeles, and I'm seeing problems all around me, and I questioned, why am I paying so much in taxes when my quality of life is going down the drain? And that's when it banged on my back doors, when I started paying attention. And I think that's going to happen for a lot of people, especially now. All the people that were like, Joe Biden is going to be the answer of 4 years of this evil orange man. They're like, he's going to be the answer. And then a few months in, they're like, wait a second. Why is gas so expensive? Why is food so expensive? Why is there a crisis at the southern border? Oh, they're going to give people that aren't here legally all this money when I'm struggling to pay for gas? Like, oh, we just pulled out of Afghanistan this way? Like, what? Sometimes I think it takes those things. We must be the change we hope to see. Yes. Sleepy Joe falling asleep again. Yes, he did. Joe Biden did fall asleep a little bit in a very important, or you could say it's very important, in a global conference, he fell asleep. Complacency has been the true pandemic for decades. I think so. Well, we haven't had to pay attention to anything. Everything was just kind of... Sarah, did you hear about him pooping his pants? No. Did I hear about Joe Biden pooping his pants? Well, the only thing... Yes, Hannity today on the radio mentioned that Newt said that the people who voted Biden now see things are worse. Yes, so what you have... Thank you for saying that. So you have all these people that felt like the last 4 years were chaotic. It was awful. It was Trump. Oh my God. But it wasn't chaotic. It was the media. The media is what spun people in a hysteria. It was the media that was chaotic. Nothing chaotic actually happened. It was the media and the Democrats being chaotic because they wanted Trump out so bad. So they made it seem chaotic, but it actually wasn't. It was them that made it chaotic. Are you going to move back? I left too hesitant to enter acting world again. I still audition. I get to do most of my auditions at home, and they're voiceover auditions. So I'm hoping no one Googles me. I get to audition from home, which is I do voice acting for those that don't know. And that's why I lived in Hollywood or West Hollywood. But I spent a year there in the midst of the lockdowns. I lived in Protest Central. I got stuck in the middle of a riot. I got cussed out on my street corner for not wearing a mask. And there's still a mandate in Los Angeles from what I'm aware of right now. So I decided to come hang out in Virginia for a while. I've been here, I think, since April, and I probably going back right after the holidays. It's really hard because I do have a lot of ties there, but so I'm still in the acting world, George, but I'm not putting my blood, sweat, and tears in it, if that's what you mean. But I still work hard. I still do the auditions that they send me. What are your thoughts on Ben Shapiro? What are your thoughts on Ben Shapiro? I love Ben Shapiro. I don't agree with everything that Ben Shapiro says. I think Ben Shapiro, I think he's one of the, he went to, I love him. I think he's funny. I think he's great. But I don't agree with everything he says. And I think some of his perspective comes from, I'm pretty sure he grew up like pretty privileged. He went to Ivy League school. He's very successful. He's written several books. I think he is really, really smart. But I think on some like cultural things, I am a little bit more liberal than he is, if that makes sense. He's bought and paid for big time. Okay, so that's what some people think, but I still think he's really smart. I love watching him in debate. Ben is sometimes too pessimistic for me. He is a master debater, yes, Kelly. Sometimes too pessimistic, yes. And you know what? That's how I feel I love Glenn Beck, but sometimes Glenn Beck makes me want to cry. I'm like, geez, is the world just ending? Oh, someone says, I tend to prefer Knowles' show, Michael Knowles. I love Michael Knowles too. I actually have met Michael Knowles in person before, and he's really, really nice. I met him and Andrew Klavan. Andrew Klavan also has a really nice story. Are you pro-choice or pro-life? So this is how I feel about that. This is probably, and this is how I feel. I was a staunch liberal, and I moved to the Republican Party. I'm a Crowder fan. I am too. I like Crowder. I think he's very funny. I enjoy his pro-life or pro-death, you mean? LOL. No, that's not it. I understand that the world is not a perfect place and humans are not perfect. And I guess I've always been, and this is something my mind could change. Somebody that I follow is Lila Rose, and she has a really good perspective on this. I think that it should be rare, safe, and I've always been one to say nothing should be done past the first trimester. And the reason I believe that is because I used to work with kids in the social services sector. Used to like him, seems to be losing touch of it. I haven't heard of Lila Rose. She is a huge pro-life activist, and she has really enlightened me to a lot of her beliefs, because I think that when you're very liberal, Buck Sexton, I've met Buck Sexton too. I actually got to sit in on one of his shows a long time before I even started talking about politics. I knew his producer, so I got to sit in on his show and watch him talk. And you know what's crazy? I sat in on one of Buck Sexton's shows, and he was doing a podcast, and I remember sitting there and thinking like, oh my gosh, how does he talk for just an hour? How do you do that? How do you just talk and have a show for that long? That's crazy. And now I'm sitting here talking to you, and it's been 88 minutes. So that's really crazy that I used to think that was so, but I've sat in, he's very nice. But back to the abortion thing. I'm not for it. I don't want it to sound like I'm for it. I just understand that it's not a perfect world, and I used to work with kids, and I also, here's also my point. I do not like Planned Parenthood, and I do not like Planned Parenthood. I think it is appalling the way people glamorize that decision that a woman makes, because I think that even when a woman does make that decision, it's a very difficult decision, and the whole process from start to finish is traumatizing to your body, to your mind, to your soul. And I think it is despicable the way that people glamorize it. And I also think that a lot of the incentive to cast people that are pro-life as being anti-woman, I think it's about money, and I don't think the government should be funding Planned Parenthood. I do not like Planned Parenthood as an organization. There is adoption. You're absolutely right. I do not think that the government should be funding Planned Parenthood. I don't think any part of that process should be government funded. If women want the government out of their bodies, then why are you asking for them to fund? And if a woman ever needs a service, so another argument that they try to use is another argument that they try to use is, oh, if you're against Planned Parenthood, then you're against like women that are poor or disadvantaged. That's a lie too. There are so many nonprofit clinics that will help women, not just with that is what I'm saying, but with an array of things that will give women free services if they show that they don't make a lot of money. So there's a lot of options out there. I think that this argument and a lot of arguments when they try to push these things and they say that anyone that is against them is a bad person, if you look at the bottom of it, it has to do with money. It's always money. And I think that that's what it is with Planned Parenthood. I would never advise anybody I knew, rich or poor, to go to Planned Parenthood. There are so many other clinics, and there are so many other clinics that offer free services. Are you Christian or atheist? I'm Christian. I'm more Christian. I typically go, when I go to church, I typically go to a non-denominational church, and I think that's from growing up in the South. I started going to Southern Baptist churches, and sometimes they can be a little much. They can be a little, oh, thank you so much. Kelly, thank you, Kelly. That's really sweet. Did you go trick-or-treating or party or get drunk with Eva? No, I got drunk with Eva. I just don't go out. I don't go out that much. I'm a very boring person. I'm very adventurous, like daytime adventure. I love to go to new places. Okay, I'm going to answer that in just a second. Thank you so much, Kelly. That's very, very sweet. I really appreciate it. I didn't go trick-or-treating. The most dressed up I was probably what you saw me on Saturday night with my ears. I dressed up as Eva, but I didn't party. I didn't really do anything. I did have wine with Eva and my parents. Florida has oranges, California has avocado, and Georgia has peaches. Yes, that's true. And peanuts. Georgia has peanuts. You could have got your clown outfit out. I did go to clown school. I never got a clown outfit though. I just got a nose. And I don't know where it is. All I got was a nose. Somebody asked a question. Oh, is Scary Clown? There was a very scary I don't know what that is. Scary Clown. I would actually really like to be a scary clown. I think that would be fun. Someone asked if there will be a Star Raiders 2. I don't think so. I don't think there's going to be a Star Raiders 3. Star Raiders 2. Wait, where are you? Because you're a peach. I'm in Virginia now, but I grew up in Georgia. Georgia is my home state. That will always be my home state. And Chris, I try to be Kelly. Yes, Georgia's always my home. I thought you were born. I was born in have you ever been to, what is that? Cater? Qatar. I don't know what that is. I was born in Georgia, and I lived there all until I was 19. I lived in Georgia. Georgia on my mind. Okay, so someone did say, you know, whenever you talk about abortion, it's a very hot button issue, and I totally understand that. And mostly pro-life, but I just understand. So someone said, don't ever get into semantics. A child is a defenseless unborn. It's an unborn life. I never said it wasn't. I totally agree with you there. I never said it wasn't. I just think that we are in an imperfect world, and rare is what I say. Very rare. And done right and legal. That's it. What are your thoughts on the gubernatorial election of Virginia? You know, can we just agree with others' opinions? Can we all just agree with others' opinions? Yes. Yes, we can. Virginia, Youngkin for the win. I want Youngkin to win. I'm optimistic about it, but I'm gonna tell you after is change, but not so much. It's more public, hot button topic. Yes, we can agree that others have opinions. Yes. I saw the New Jersey's governor race, Georgia. I agree with everyone, and everyone is right about everything. Remember that Nadler shat himself on camera? Yes, he did. Virginia. If you were to ask me, I really got thrown in 2020, so I feel that Youngkin is going to win this one. I don't know, I just do. Oh, okay, don't allow trolls to put words in your mouth. I see what she did with that topic. Yeah. I hope you're right, Turn. Yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling that he might pull it through. It's so close. So right now, a lot of the... All right, y'all, I'm out of here. Have a good night. Bye. Thank you for coming. So the early vote is, I think it has McAuliffe in the lead a little bit. But there was another poll that said about 70% of Republicans will be voting on Election Day. So you still have a lot of people. Have you been to Saudi Arabia? No, I have not. It would be great if New Jersey elected Republican. Yeah, that probably would actually be, well, you know what's interesting too, there was another poll, and I can't remember where it came from. If I can find it, I'll put it in another video. But there actually was another poll. Sarah, have you ever been out of the country? Yes. I'll tell you about that in just a second. There was another poll that actually shows, and I agree with this, it actually shows that the majority of people, Republican, Democrat, or Independent, actually trust Republicans more when it comes to law and order, when it comes to inflation and the economy, and when it comes to border security. And I'm going to tell you this, that's what we were saying, great times create weak men. We've had it so good for so long, people go for things that aren't, people go for all of the like social justice things that don't really knock at your front door. They don't really like affect your everyday life. But now we see what's happening when you go towards those things. I often liken it to California. This is how I talk about Gavin Newsom and the way that he sort of runs California. It's almost like the way he runs California is if everything was going perfectly and we had extra money to spend on like pet projects, right? So it's the way that Gavin Newsom runs California, it's like you have this really nice sports car and it looks really nice on the outside. Yet if you open the hood, there's no engine. And instead of fixing the engine in the sports car, Gavin Newsom is like Let's put racing stripes on the side of it. Let's repaint. Let's repaint the car. And that's how he runs California. And I think that's how Democrats vote sometimes. But, you know, if there's no engine in the car, and I think people are realizing that. If every vote counts, how important is the manner in which the votes are counted? Good question. But what's interesting is a lot of people in Virginia did not do mail-in voting. So that's good. A lot of people voted in person. They did early voting. And Virginia, actually, this is good news about Virginia. They actually made it a little bit harder to get your mail-in vote. So the process to get your mail-in vote was harder in Virginia than it was in, say, California, where they just sent a ballot to everyone. Biden's purposely doing terrible so people vote Trump, as in the last president. The next election is a trap. Didn't realize about VA and mail-in votes. That is a good sign. Yes, I did read that recently because some people were asking me about the mail-in voting situation in Virginia, and I didn't know. I didn't really hear anything about it, but I did read that they made it a little bit more difficult to get your mail-in vote. They weren't just sending it out to everyone, and a lot of people rejected that, so they went and voted in person, which is good. And they say about 70% of Biden has been terrible for 40 plus years. Yes. So they're calling Terry McAuliffe. They're calling him Terry Smollett. Yes, I always vote in person. It's interesting. When I voted in the 2020 election, I voted at a place by my house, actually, in West Hollywood. That's where I was living in California. And I went to vote, and they were like, well, how do you want to receive your ballots in the future? Do you want to be mail-in voting? And I was like, well, no. I thought the only reason we were doing mail-in voting was because we were in the middle of a pandemic. Why would I do it next year or the next election? We're not going to be in the middle. But they kept trying to push mail-in voting, and I was like, I don't want that. No. Okay, I think that's everything. Reset is set for 2030. Biden is 10 months into a 4-year. It's been 10 months already. Do you think they'll let the pandemic end? I think they'll have to. It's weird. It seems like it's over basically where I live. Great stream, Sarah. You should do more of these. Let's go, Brent. Oh, thank you so much. 10 months too long. Guys, lay off the booze. Good evening. Sarah, I have a topic about the COVID shot mandate. Or the Chicago one. Glenn, did you see we were talking about that earlier? Thank you. Hope you have a great evening. Thank you so much. Congrats on all the new subs. You really shot up in the last few weeks. What changed? We have to learn. Oh, what changed? Honestly, what changed is, I don't know how or why, but the YouTube shorts. So when I post those, for some reason, they get a wider audience. So more people are finding my channel. So if you see me posting like weird shorts and stuff like that, well, I like to do them because it gets information out quickly. But Maybe it was when I was bumped. Oh, maybe. Glen Allen, I'll get to that in just a second. I'm drinking beer right now. Good for you. Kelly said, well, I just looked, you gained a lot of new subs. Yeah, I don't know, from the shorts, they're getting just a wider audience. It was really weird. Like my videos, if you looked at my algorithm, I used to get 75% of my views from people that were not subscribed, and then that switched a while ago. But I don't know, ever since the shorts, you have great shorts. Oh, thank you very much, Morris. Your Let's Go Brandon caught me. Okay, so he got here from Let's Go Brandon. A lot of people found that one. You seem to be more invested in your YouTube channel recently. Yes, and I'm more invested. So I think it's several things. I've had more time to spend on YouTube, and I've done more stuff for it. And then the shorts really help too, because those, I don't know what it is. It was the same on TikTok. It's like that's why I've stayed on there. I know a lot of people think TikTok is super cringy, and trust me, many parts of it are, but there's also some cool parts of it. But you just got a wider audience on that platform, and I was trying to bring people from that platform onto my YouTube, and the same with the shorts. It just gets a wider audience, which is really cool. I don't use TikTok. I mean, you don't have to. I did it because I just got a lot of engagement there. I actually met on TikTok. I don't know if I can say this. Yeah, I can say it, because you don't know. You deserve every sub you get. Thank you so much, Chris. China is TikTok. I know. It is China owned. I will say this. I actually, I made a video on TikTok about the border crisis, and a border patrol agent, I can tell you this because I won't tell you where he works, but a border patrol agent found me on there and reached out to me, and him and I have talked back and forth a lot, and he was telling me about things that are going on the border. So that's pretty cool. That happened from TikTok. China has infiltrated our government. I know, his name is Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. You need to tell us about the border mess. Well, my opinion about the border mess is that it's all Blue State Conservative is a great commentator. Thank you. I've heard things about London. Someone just mentioned London. I didn't know Trump's spokeswoman had a YouTube channel. I don't know. Okay, so here. If McAuliffe wins, prepare for a masterclass on why it's not just okay to challenge election results. It's actually good for democracy to make election challenges. All right, you all. F Jen Sucky. Okay, here we go. VA forecast changes to lean right this election. 50% of Republicans don't believe their ballot will be counted fairly, and 30% believe there will be violence over our national divisions. Dems want to replace Biden in the 2024 ballot. I don't know what that means. All right, you all. That's everything I have. Oh, Glenn. Okay, bye, Axel. Axie. Everyone needs to chill out. That's what I think. Have you watched, no. Thank you, Kelly. Oh, Glenn, you brought up, yes, we did talk about the ruling that they cannot impose a mandate on the police officers of Chicago, which is very good because I think they need every police officer that they can possibly have in Chicago. So we did talk about that a little bit. Okay, Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. That was very fun. I really appreciate it. Have an amazing night. Yes, thank you very much, everyone. Good night. Bye, Hammerstein. I didn't see you earlier. Okay, bye. Bye. Thank you. See y'all tomorrow at the polls. Okay, that'll be interesting. I'll be watching this tomorrow. Okay, bye, everybody. See ya.